All right, my friends. Hey, hey. So some of you may have watched the first video. The first video is going to be a recap of what we discussed on Tuesday. Okay, super quick recap. Some of you may not have a need to or desire to, totally fine. They're going to come right here and start this video. This is where we left off on Tuesday. Okay, so let's talk about the brain, baby. All right. So the largest part of the brain whoop, is going to be the cerebrum. Okay, the elevated portions of that cerebrum are going to be the gyri. Okay, the grooves, the canyons are the sulci. So gyri are going to be the mountaintop, sulci are going to be the grooves. Okay, all of this where we find the sulci and the gyri are going to be on what we call the cerebral cortex, basically a layer of nerve cells that lie in sheets that are folded over like a Shar-Pei dog. Okay, on top of the cerebrum. Okay, does that make sense? Let's show you. Okay, look at that. Okay, so it looks sort of like raw meat, but also like a Shar-Pei a little bit. So the mountaintop areas, what are those? Those are going to be the gyri and the grooves sulci. Please know that. Okay. All right. Okay, my friends, remember, if it's highlighted, it's probably important, and I want you to know it. Um, if we're talking about it, significant. Okay, take your notes. Feel free to pause, write them down. Okay, let's get organized. So, cerebrum, the largest section of the brain, and the surface of the cerebrum is called what? Cerebral cortex. Okay, the cerebrum is in charge of speech, vision, smell, movement, hearing, and thought. Check, 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 check. Okay. All right. Side note, sidebar over here. Remember that CSF? What is it? Cerebro spinal fluid. Look at this cerebro. Okay. That's going to be your combining form for brain. So, brain spinal fluid. Okay. What is this stuff? It's a watery fluid. It protects the brain and spinal cord, acting as a cushion, and it contains sugars and protein. Okay. When we need to withdraw CSF to rule out conditions like meningitis, we would do what's called a lumbar puncture, LP. Know your abbreviations, my friends, okay? Lumbar puncture, withdrawing of CSF. Okay. All right, the cerebellum. Why on earth do I have sir here? Okay, let's go. The cerebellum is your proper part of the brain. It's that uppity proper self, okay? What's it gonna do? It's gonna coordinate voluntary movements and maintain your balance. Look at this. Look at this. All right, let's bam, come around here. Whoop. All right. Let's take a look at that cerebellum. The cerebellum right here. What does that look like? It's a mustache, okay? And doesn't that mustache look like it belongs on somebody with a nice old top hat? Uh, what are those? Monocle? Did I remember the word? Is it a monocle? I could be wrong. I don't think I am though. Okay, yeah, I'm like actually proud of myself. I think I remembered what it's called. So this person with this kind of a mustache is wearing a top hat, a monocle, those little one piece circular eyeglass things with a little gold chain, and a walking stick. Okay. All right. All right. Y'all see that, right? Y'all got that in your head. So, what is this person, this cerebellum? That sounds like sir. Okay. Sir. What is this sir doing? It's maintaining your balance and your proper etiquette. It's making sure you're standing upright and erect and maintaining balance. That's the cerebellum. I think it's a monocle. I think I said that correctly. Did I? I don't know. Google it. I don't know. All right. Anywho, voluntary movements, check, and maintains balance. That's going to be the cerebellum. Okay. Then we have your thalamus, the triage center, the processing center. Okay. The thalamus, where is it? It's going to be deep in the brain. Okay. The hypothalamus Hypo, less than, below, lower. So where is the hypothalamus? Yeah, right below the thalamus. You got it. The hypothalamus, we'll talk about it in a minute again, but it controls body temperature, sleep, emotions, appetite, sexual desire, and hormones. Okay. And here we go. And much more legible, huh? Okay. Hypothalamus also regulates the release of hormones from the pituitary gland and monitors the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Remember your fight or flight and your relaxation. Okay, that's your sympathetic and parasympathetic. And then remember, okay, here we go. Look, the hypothalamus regulates the release of hormones that it synthesizes, but the pituitary gland is going to release. Okay, so the pituitary gland, that little tiny pea-sized gland in the brain called the master gland of the body, the hypothalamus is going to synthesize to make hormones. Then it's giving it to the pituitary gland and asking the pituitary gland, yo, hey, can you hold this for me? Like just put it in your fanny pack and you just disperse it as needed. Cool? Okay, cool, thanks. Very much like, remember the digestive organs, what are they? The liver and the gallbladder. The liver makes what? Come on, say it. Bile. The liver then gives the bile to who? The gallbladder. And the gallbladder does what with the bile? Concentrates it and stores it and then releases it. Okay, so very similar to this relationship here in the brain. Okay. All right, then we have the brain stem that includes the midbrain, pons, and the medulla. Okay. Let's see. I want you to know that the midbrain is the uppermost portion of the brainstem. Okay. Let's see here. Then we have the medulla oblongata that connects the spinal cord to the brain. Let me show you where this is. Okay, let's go sideways here. So the medulla oblongata, right there, I want you to get your bearings, okay? So in that upper neck, lower head area, that's the medulla oblongata. This structure connects the brain to the neck. Check, you need to know that. What does it also do? It also regulates your blood vessels, your heart, and your respiratory system. Okay. This structure plays a huge role in keeping you alive. So it connects the spinal cord to the brain. Okay, check. But it regulates the size of your blood vessels, your beating heart, and breathing. And so that's why back of the neck trauma, lower head trauma can be so traumatic, because look at what we're dealing with here. And if this area gets injured, we're not losing vision, man. I mean, the person's done. It's a wrap. Okay. Medulla oblongata. All right. So real quick, before we talk about the meninges here, I want to pretend that this is an actual slide, okay? I want to talk about the spinal cord, okay? So let's get our structures here. You all know I'm an amazing artist, okay? So let's just get our bearings. What are we looking at? This is the head, spinal cord, okay? And then this is the lower back, okay? So at the end of the spinal cord here, we have a fan of nerve fibers called the cauda equina, okay? And that actually means horsetail in Latin. Let me show you. Oop. Okay, you can literally see it's a fan of nerve fibers, okay? Cauda equina at the base, bottom of the spinal cord, okay? Please be familiar. All right, now let's go to the meninges, okay? So it's a really weird word. And you know, the medical field likes doing that. Like, let's just give it a funky word, okay? What are the meninges, my friends? They're layers surrounding the brain, that's all, okay? There are 3 layers surrounding the brain. Those are the meninges, okay? I want you to know what those 3 layers are. And I drew it out, color coded it, so it's super duper clear. So don't worry about subdural hematoma. We'll talk about that in a minute. Let's talk about these layers, okay? So let's get our bearings here. What are we dealing with here? What is this? This is the brain, okay? What is this white sort of porous looking thing? That's your skull bone, okay? Then you have your scalp, check. Now, the layer closest to the cranium, the skull, the outer layer is the dura mater. That's going to be a tough outer layer. It reminds me of like leather chaps. Okay, it's going to be a tough outer layer, protective layer, right below the bone. Okay. And then you have that hot pink layer. That's subdural space. Y'all, dude, look at this, man. Come on. What does sub mean? Below, under. Dural, well, all is what pertaining to dura, the dura. Okay. So the dura, it's below the dura. Hey, okay. Subdural space. It is literally space. Then you have the dark green arachnoid membrane. Arachnoid means boop, spider. Okay. And then the inner layer, orange, is the pia mater. Okay. And that's going to be the layer closest to the brain. In between the arachnoid and the pia, you have this interesting subarachnoid, sub below, less than, under, arachnoid, below the spider space, right? Yes. And it contains what? Cerebrospinal fluid. So here we go. Look at the layers, okay? Outer layer right here is going to be the dura mater. Then you have space, pink, the subdural space. Then you have the arachnoid membrane. And then the inner layer, which is the pia mater. What's happening in here? Well, the entire reason this is called the arachnoid membrane is because look at this. All of these itty bitty, like interesting spider webs connecting the inner layer to the arachnoid layer. Pretty cool, okay? These spider webs allow for that space for the cerebrospinal fluid to course through. And it goes all the way down around the brain and then down the spine, okay? Now, take this time, pause the video if you have any questions, okay? All right. Let's just kind of nerd out here for a minute with some word parts. So, hematoma, that's easy. What's oma? Come on, say it. Mass or tumor? What's hemato? Blood. So what's hematoma? A mass of blood. Okay, check. All right, cool. Subdural, all, one of the 800 what? Come on, pertaining to is good. Then we have sub below and then dura, boop, boop. Okay, so what's a subdural hematoma? What's a subdural hematoma? It's going to be, here we go, a mass of blood within the meninges. Okay, a mass of blood within the meninges. You may need to know that. Okay, good job, everybody. We're doing it. These terms you can review on your own. You have these slides accessible to you and they're in your book. Use your book, use your book. All right. Combining forms, let's go. Guess what I'm doing right now? I'm opening my book, everybody. Okay. What's the durameter? It's going to be that tough outer layer. Know that. I'm not going to ask you about this combining form. Okay. All right. Way back in chapter 15. And oh my gosh, I think even in midterm A, right? What does cephalo mean? Cephalo. What does cephalo mean? Head. What is N? Within. Within the head. Guess what encephalo means? Brain. They got really creative here, man. They like really put some thought into this, huh? Encephalo is brain. Actually, and you know what, my friends, look, let's go ahead and highlight that for you. I do want you to know that. Well, let's go bigger. Whoop. Too big. Whoop and whoop. There we go. All right. All right. Myo, muscle. Myelo, not to be confused with myo. Myelo is spinal cord. Okay. Myo, muscle. Myelo with an L, spinal cord, and an E. Myelo, spinal cord. Please know that. What's a myelogram? An X-ray image of the spinal cord. Gram, image, record, picture of. Okay. Instagram, instant picture. Okay. Neuro, nerve. Okay. What's neuropathy? What's neuropathy? Come on. Pathy is what? Disease. Neuropathy, disease of the nerves. Neural, pertaining to the nerves. Okay. Good job, everybody. All right. Algia is pain. Come on. And I want you to pause if you want to answer this before I say it. What does neuralgia mean? Get it. Let's go. Come on. Neuralgia, nerve pain. Good. Okay. Causo is burning. So come on. What's causalgia? Yes. Burning pain. Neuropathy, disease of the nerves, can cause neuralgia, right? Okay. Aesthesia, feeling and or nervous sensation. So anesthesia, and come on, what's an? Say it. It's gonna be without okay? So anesthesia is no feeling, no nervous sensation. Is that good? It's not good. Anesthesia is not good unless you're under the knife, right? Then it's fantastic. Anesthesia is a symptom of, if you're not under the knife and it wasn't synthetically given to you, anesthesia is a side effect of what? Neuropathy, disease of the nerves. Okay, anesthesia. That's a lot of times what can happen with severe diabetics. Okay, with that neuropathy comes anesthesia. They don't feel when there's been an injury to a lower extremity. That injury gets infected. Okay, anesthesia. So, what is hyperesthesia? And my friends, listen, this is why I keep telling you know your word parts. Because how cool is it that there are going to be terms now that you don't even need to study because you know your word parts. Okay. So, what's hyperesthesia? It's going to be a hypersensation. It's going to be abnormally intense sensation to a particular stimuli. Whereas normal with other people, it may not be that severe, but for somebody with hyperesthesia, it's going to be significant and pretty awful. Hyperesthesia. Okay, what's paresthesia? That's going to be the sensation of prickling. Okay, par means abnormal. So paresthesia is going to be your pins and needles when your foot falls asleep, and or when nerves are healing from trauma. Paresthesia, the pins and needles. Okay. All right. Kinesia is movement. Okay. Come on. Let's go. What's bradykinesia? Bradykinesia. Now, if you're into football and you know anything about anything, you will agree with me that Brady means slow. Okay. Bradykinesia. Don't be mad. Don't be mad. All right. Brady, slow. What's fast? Anybody remember? Tacky. Okay. So bradykinesia is going to be slow movement. Okay. What's dyskinesia? What's dys? Dys. Okay. It's going to be difficult or painful. So dyskinesia, involuntary spasmodic movements. Okay. All right. If you have any questions right now, now's the time to pause and write it down. Okay. All right. Lepsy is seizure. Now, when you think of seizure, I bet a lot of you are thinking of somebody having a seizure, but seizure means to take, to seize something. So narco means sleep. What's narcolepsy? To take sleep. Sleeping is overtakes the person, narcolepsy. Sudden, uncontrollable compulsion to sleep. Narcolepsy. Kind of cool. All right. All right. Let's go paresis. Okay. Number one, I don't like the definition here in this book, slight paralysis. Okay. So paralysis is the loss or impairment of the ability to move body parts. Okay. Slight paralysis, AKA weakness, is paresis. Let me show you. Look. Okay. Paresis, weakness, AKA slight paralysis. I'm not a fan. Plegia is paralysis. I don't want you getting tweaked because you see slight paralysis here, okay? Paresis is weakness. So if somebody has hemiparesis, hemi is half. They have weakness on half the body. Look at paresis, weakness, plegia, paralysis, inability, okay? Half, hemiparesis, weakness on half the body. Okay, now we're gonna go look at this. Quad means what? 4. Para is 2. So let's look at our extremities. 1, 2, 3, 4. So hemiparesis is side or half. So hemiparesis again is what? Say it. Weakness on half the body. Okay, half the body. A quadriplegic, or quadriplegia is what? Paralysis of all 4 extremities. A paraplegic is going to be a pair, not all 4. Paraplegic, paralysis in 2 extremities. Quad, 4. Para is a pair, 2. Hemi, half or side. Okay. Quadriplegic, 4. Neck down. And what happens, the reason this happens, remember that spinal cord, wherever the injury is, if significant enough, will cause injury from that location downward. So if it is the neck, upper chest, we're going to be dealing with all 4 extremities. Waist down, pair. Okay, I know there's questions. Go ahead, write them down. We'll come back to it, okay? All right. Aphasia, speech. A is what? What is it? A is without. Aphasia, difficulty speaking or inability to speak. Difficulty with speech. Okay. Good job, everybody. We're almost done. Good job. All right. Praxia. Action. Let me back up. Praxia means action. Okay. Now, again, let's recap. What does the prefix a mean? Without. So without action, it is not purposeful. Okay. versus taxo, which is order or coordination. You add an A in front of taxo, you get ataxia. Hold on, hada. What's IA? IA, condition of. Condition of no coordination. Where have we seen that before? Intoxication. Versus praxia, apraxia, the actions are not purposeful. Let me help you create a visual. You're at Denny's. You're with two friends. One friend has late stage Parkinson's. So there's a significant tremor and actions of the hand that are not purposeful. There's movement that is not purposeful. Whereas the other friend next to you is drunk as a skunk and they're not coordinated. Ataxia. That's the difference. Does that make sense? Okay. Syncope, to feel faint. Okay, to feel faint. All right. Guess what? You did it. Okay, I'm going to stop screen sharing. What I would like you to do now is go on into pathology and treatments and procedures on e-learning and Moodle, the second video. Please watch that. When you are done, take your break. We will come back together at 11 a.m. sharp. Okay, good job, everybody.